Good morning, Michigan Ultimate Survivor League members, owners, friends, family, the whole nine yards. It is I, James L. Seagraves. Every day these podcasts come at you a little bit later because my family's weird at getting around. It is currently 7:22 on Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. Anyway, week three's in the books. Got a few undefeated teams left. A few teams haven't won yet. We'll go over it. Now, I noticed last time that this podcast ran about 40 minutes. Going to try to clip through it here because nobody wants to spend 41 minutes listening to this guy talk. So, just want to say we're going to move along faster than normal. We're going to try to move along faster than normal. We'll see if that works. Stop with the introductions. We're going to go right from the get-go here. Talk about something that was brought to my attention late last night while eating dinner with my daughter and her friend. I got a message from an owner asking why the Panthers' interception pick six counted against the Saints' defense, and my response was, it shouldn't count against it. Well, I did some research and found, now there are two controversies. Notice it says there are controversies. Two controversies this week I want to address. Number one is this. At some point, and I honestly don't, as you all know, I pour a lot of energy and effort into this league, the podcast, the building of the conferences, all this stuff. A lot goes into this. Point blank, at some point, I honestly don't know when. It could have been this week. It could have been 2 years ago, for all I know. But nobody's ever brought it to my attention until now. At some point, my fantasy league stopped. It used to be like the total points against for defenses only counted points allowed by the defense and special teams. And then all of a sudden, Justin Redding, of all people, because it actually didn't help him win, but he's like, hey, what's up with this? And I'm like, well, that's not the way it should be. So I did some research, and at some point in the past, presumably this year, I'm guessing, because someone would have noticed it last year, they changed how the scoring works. And they have like two separate categories for scoring now. There's total points allowed, and then there's offensive points allowed, and then there's special teams points allowed. Three separate things technically. And I did the research to see when that changed. Don't know. Point blank, don't know when it changed. I don't like to admit this, but realistically, it was never a problem before, so I gotta imagine it's this year. No one has ever, with as many teams as we've had, somebody would have brought it up over the last, year, that something wasn't right. Unfortunately, it took to week three for it to get noticed this week. I went through, and sure enough, there was a new scoring setting that I had to address and fix, and now it's back to the way it was. It shows up as offensive points against, but if you click on the thing, it's offensive plus special teams points against is a separate category, then points allowed. I don't know when that happened. I'm not happy about it. This site is a clunky motherfucker to begin with, but it's amazing, and it's the only way we can do the league that we love so much. So we have to just take it, I guess. But the fact that something like that was changed without being communicated to anybody, to my knowledge, I'm going to blame the site. I'll blame myself, too, for not noticing it earlier. But kudos to Justin Reddick for noticing it. Now, again, that gave his team an extra point in that game, which was not enough for him to win this week. But I believe True Blue Wrecking Crew also was affected by that, and they actually were given an extra point or two, which was enough to beat somebody. I don't remember who it was. Tips and Tricks, maybe? No, it was, I don't remember who it was. Whoever True Blue Wrecking Crew. Oh, Aching for a Ship, that's who it was. Aching for a Ship got a loss because of this. Now, again, with integrity being the most important thing to me, bottom line is, this should have always been that way. So Aching for a Ship, don't think of this as being a loss given to you and a win stolen from you. It's more of, this should have been this way to begin with. I don't know why the site did what it did. New owners are probably thinking, man, this site's all kinds of crazy. Got the weirdness with the randomizers and shit. But no, it's never had a problem. Never has, and hopefully never will again. But, realistically, this year, much like DirecTV's Sunday Ticket was, a little bit of a rough start. Hopefully we don't have any more problems. If we do, we'll address them as they come. Now, I could not find a way of going back and changing the stats retroactively. So if you feel the need to go back and see if that was last week was the problem or 2 weeks ago was the problem, and it'll make a difference in points, let me know, and I'll go back and I'll retroactively change the scores. But, I mean, realistically, we caught it this week. What's done is done. I don't think we're going to be able to change a lot. From here on forward, the way it should have been scoring is the way it is scored. It says controversies, ? And again, like, this goes back to Aaron King, who 2 weeks ago, if you remember, he didn't submit a lineup. Said that he put in a lineup in, it wasn't there. We rolled with a randomizer. He said he'd buy me a gift card, a Subway gift card if we won, and sure enough, to his word, he did. This week, same shit. You know, he's like, hey, my line, and I waited till 1:10. I'm like, bro, your lineup's not in. He's like, well, I got a screenshot saying it is. Well, it turns out he never hit the submit lineup button, so who knows? Maybe there's not any problems with the site, for all we know. So he was randomized, and this week he lost. Otherwise, we'd get another gift card, maybe. A lot of good teams were randomized this week. Not cool. We'll talk about that there towards the end. But that controversy is out of the way. We're going to move forward. From here on forward, anything like that will happen again. Will be counted the way it should have been counted all the way. Rob Aiken, I'm sorry for your loss. But, I mean, like I said, it should have been a win to begin with. So that being said, we're going to go to the bottom 10. We're going to go through these quickly because I don't want this. And that was, hey, let's go through let's make the podcast shorter than have a 10-minute tirade about the stupid defense scoring, but still. Bottom 10, Joe Buck yourself. Tom Farmer finds himself in the bottom with a measly 133 points scored through 3 weeks. What the hell's going on with that? The Dublin Drunks, the lovable Jeff Arbogast, in 95th place. Hockenstein, Giggle, Tips and Tricks, who was randomized, and that's bullshit. Don't like to see teams randomized with good owners. Super original. Didn't come up with a very original lineup this week. Or maybe he did, and that's why it was so low. Hernandez, Hitman, Run It Back. That is Parker Dalton's dad. He's going to run for the exits, as fans are. Honolulu Blues, and my man, Mike Davis. Devastation Incorporated. His lineup has indeed been devastating to himself and his self-esteem, as well as to all that he holds sacred. So, not a great start for him. 0-3 for him and David Dalton. Welcome to the league. It's a lot harder than you thought, isn't it? Yes, it is. Moving up, Squadrels with a catastrophic fall from 23 to 50. We're going to move through here because we don't want to waste time. All right, top 25. We got you, Thielen, Lucky Punk, 2-1 with 217 points. My ball, Zach Ertz, Don Knapp. Garrity's Gigolos. Don't look now, but someone from the Garrity family is actually doing something. I'm very proud of you, son. Password is Taco, former champion Dom Valenti, up to 22. Tie her up and lock it down. He's sticking with the name, I guess. He could easily change it, but he hasn't, which is fine. 2-game win streak, up to 230, up to 21. New Orleans Rock Chucks, the aforementioned Aaron, I don't know how to submit a lineup, King, came in with number 4, lost because of the randomizer, now he's down to number 20. Tallywhackers, Josh Crampton, I gave him some shit last podcast, and he has definitely shut me up this week. He has both of his teams from the top 25. Number 19, number 18, formerly number 3, Chop It Off, blah, blah, blah. Pat Provost loses, goes down to number 3, number 18. Show me them TDs. Kyle Stoker, I believe that's who's. No, that's not whose team that is. Who's show me their TDs. I think it's Chad Leach. So I thought it was. Kyle Stoker changed his name. It threw me off. Down from number 5 to number 17. Andy Plum's back in the top 25. Has jumped from he was in the top 25. Back in the top 16, I should say. After he lost last week, almost fell out. Now he's up to number 16. The Apache Chiefs, the cursed number 1 spot. Perhaps it's the curse of Tecumseh that's causing him this problem. But he cursed himself. The number 1 spot seems to be a bad place to be as for the second straight week. The number 1 team falls. Didn't fall as in dramatic fashion as the Lakers did, though. We're still swimming in the depths. James St. Germain on a 2-game win streak, up from number 25 to number 14. Sarah Krasinski's got a 2-game win streak outranked into number 13. Tenacious D, again, the aforementioned Josh Crampton. He's the last of the undefeated teams here in terms of these rankings, up from number 17 to number 12. Number 11, Sag Nasty's Notch Above Top Notch is still undefeated, 3-0 with 210 points respectively. Then we get to the top 10. We got Cloacal Kiss, Don't Look Now. Maddie Bradley's undefeated, folks. She's 3-0. True Blue Wrecking Crew off the controversial 1-point win after the adjustment with the defensive scoring. Sorry about that. You're in trouble. Now, I believe that might be Kyle Stoker's new team. Let me double check. Sure enough, that is Kyle Stoker's new team. Welcome, 3-0. Number 8, Mullen Incorporated, Paul Ward. That's a chunky Louis Diana, 6-0, or number 6 at 3-0, 230 points. Vincent Vallada I don't know. I tell you, I do these podcasts so early, sometimes my brain's not thinking, and I don't know what happened last week. But Vincent Villada is up from number 7 to number 5. Got his name wrong last week. I'm only human. Bleeding Blue Bomber is up from number 16 to number 4. Good job. Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle of my thighs, up from number 8 to number 3. 253 points, 3-0. Very good. Dewayans, Gary King, up for number 6, number 2, which means we have a new number 1 team in the nation, folks. And that number 1 team in the nation is, you guessed it, Poe Swag. Bonnie Monahan, who came in the league collectively with Ashley Cromwell, coming back as two lovely ladies who have both made it to the Final Four / won the series or won the whole championship. What?
Top 3 is 2 ladies.
Yeah, top 3 is 2 ladies and Gary King. Put a wig on, Gary. Maybe we'll get you to... It's 2022. Nobody cares. Anyway, post-swag. Ashley Cromwell didn't submit a lineup. Bonnie Monahan did. Look what happens when you submit a lineup. You can find yourself at the number 1 spot. However, it could be the cursed number 1 spot because no one who's been number 1 has won the next week. Now, we're skipping winners and losers because everyone's a loser this week, in my opinion. Not really, but the Lions game pissed me off so much I didn't have the heart to say winners. And then we have our high score, low scores. Here we go. Low score, super original. Like I said, it was a super original lineup because nobody else put it in because you were last place. And the number 1 lineup this week was Garrity's Gigolos. Finally coming up and doing something. 103.3, putting himself in the top 25. We look at the best lineup of the week, which would be Steve Garrity's team. Almost everybody in double digits, with the exception of Matt Gay. Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Jamal Williams had a great game. A.J. Brown, Alan Lazard, Travis Kelce, Matt Gay, Dallas Cowboys defense. 10 points. Was up for a good 103.3. Super Originals, shitty lineup. Kirk Cousins, of course, he played the Lions. Why wouldn't you start him? But still didn't do as well as he thought he would. David Montgomery left a huge turd on the field. 0.55 points. That is atrocious. I think I started him too, which is why my team lost. Justin Jefferson. We didn't do winners and losers, but I'm going to say winner to Jeff Okudah, who shut him down. Everyone always makes fun of him in my house, Jeff Okudah, because I think he's a wasted draft pick. Justin Jefferson is by far probably the best receiver in the league, and he led him to 14 points and 2 catches, and because we have a stupid half-point PPR system, he scored 2.2 points. Whole nother story. Deontay Johnson with 8.2. Then you got Jacoby Myers, who apparently didn't even play, or he just didn't show up to play. Pat Fryermuth. Fryer Tuck would have been as effective at tight end. Robbie Gould, 5.5 points. And then, of course, the Los Angeles Rams, 5 points. So we're playing the Cardinals, I think. I don't know. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off. It didn't, obviously. We're going to go to our top starters for the week now. We're moving through here, blazing through, trying not to get this thing to be 45 minutes long here. Starter points, players. Here we go. Let's see through 3 weeks who's the number 1 started player in each position. We're going to go quarterback. We're hitting it up. No, we're going to go franchise by player only. Sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Why you can't sort this is super annoying. Jalen Hurts. About a third of the league has started him. 36 teams have started him. Russell Wilson, 26. And Matthew Stafford, 21. I just like to do this. Let's go to Dak Prescott. Oh, yeah, that was me that started in week 1. Anyone I start gets hurt. Started Dalvin Cook this week, got hurt. Started Mac Jones this week, got hurt. Jalen Hurts, I'm starting next week because if he gets hurt. Moving on, let's hope not. 45 people started Antonio Gibson as running back. That's, about half the league. Second place is going to be Joe Mixon, mixing it up. 28 teams. And then Dalvin Cook, well, he's out for a while, looks like, so he won't be starting now. Of course, I started him this week. And Nick Chubb, go to wide receivers. Blazing through here, who's the number 1 started wide receiver? This is a lot more varied. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Deebo Samuel, kind of the same player in a way, too. Similar style. Both have been started by 29 teams. A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin with 27 starts. Oh, and then there's this guy, Justin Jefferson, 28 starts, and this week was not a good week to start him, folks. Sorry to say. Randomizers for the week. We're going to go over that real quick. So these are the people who are randomized. So New Orleans Rock Trucks have been randomized twice in a row. Okay? Now,
I'm listening.
I'm glad you're listening, Cassandra. I wasn't asking if you were listening, but it's good to know that you listen to this. As per rule, if you are randomized twice, you will not be allowed to be in the wild card lottery. Now, that being said, I firmly believe that last week was the hiccup. I'm going against my better judgment here, but I'm going to not count this as a week for that because I do believe that we had some hiccups, and I changed the lineup super early for him. So I'm going with the benefit of the doubt, even though after not submitting a lineup this week, I wonder if it was a thing. But I'm making a chance. When you've been an owner as long as Aaron King has been, and he's been such a good owner, he's only been randomized probably 3 times his whole career, and it's about 8 years in this league. I am publicly stating that I am not counting week 2 as a randomizer for him. I don't think he'll be randomized again, but if he is, mark my words on this podcast, I don't care what it is, he gets randomized again, he will be exempt from the playoff lottery. Of course, he's a good enough owner, he probably won't need to be in the lottery anyway. Air Allen, which is David Valerius, Parker Dalton's referral, he has been stripped of a chance of getting in via the wild card lottery at this point. And if he does not submit a lineup in any other week, basically, well, especially this week, we will consider his team abandoned, and we will have another team take over. Parker Dalton, if you're watching this, maybe you should take over this team because he's been randomized 2 weeks in a row. And then we got some big hitters on here. We're randomized this week. Don't know why. Brady O'Bush, former champion. Dominic Mulkey's tips and tricks. I don't know why there's no K in there. Randomized. Eric Minturn was too busy going to the Renaissance Festival to submit a lineup for either of his teams. And then the lovable Derek Gregory randomized as well. These are good owners, folks. Not expecting to see these names on this randomized list, but you know what? Maybe time slipped away. Keeps on slipping into the future is what Steve Miller said. And you get your lineup slipping out of there. Maybe you don't know it. Before you know it, it's 1 o'clock. Shit the bed, Fred. There it goes. What's your chance? And now you're on the blacklist potential. So that's that. We're going to take a look at the conferences, see where people stack up here real quick, as we do every week. If we get we got to get that Verizon home internet in here because this shit slow us out. Now, I don't know why. I tried so hard not to have this double column here. I don't know why it shows like this. It's annoying. But as you can see, Jeff Lebowski Conference has 110 and 23. Air Allen 17, 1 via randomizer. So Parker, you might want to take that team over because it's actually 2-1. It's a pretty good team there. Just submit a lineup for him is all you got to do. If he doesn't get a lineup submitted this week, we will find a new owner, period. I don't care if he's paid his money or not. We don't want deadbeat owners in this league. That's why we drive them out. I was super confident of this 96-man roster, and I knew there'd be a couple deadbeats, but I hope your guy's not one of them. Garrity Gigolo's 23, as you can see there. This one here's got a bunch of them. 8, 19, 22, and 25 in Kirk Lazarus Conference. Only one undefeated team, though. Kyle Stoker's you're in trouble. Ron Burgundy has number 7, number 20, and number 18. Now, again, these numbers at the end of the year don't mean anything. What matters is the standings. This just means that Brady O'Bush and Double C's have beaten people below them, which is why they're higher, even though they're not ranked. Their points, especially in Double C's case, pretty miserable compared to the other people who are 2-1, but it's all about tiebreakers. They've beaten people in this league. This will shake out as the year goes on. Don't worry about that. Jeff Spicoli Conference, we got 6, 9, and 15. The Apache Chiefs still with the most points in that conference, though. And then Aiken for a ship. I hate bringing him up left and right, but my God. He scored 242 points, only 1 win. And, of course, he was the guy who got hit by that thing. And then Frank Drebenkranz, we have 2 undefeated teams. Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle of my thighs and Tenacious D, both 3-0. We have 3 top 25 teams, 3, 12, and 14, as James St. Germain's Patriots are 2-1. Brody Bruce Conference, we have 2, 17, 16, 21, and 19. This is a real messed up thing based on tiebreakers. Just points, again, is how these numbers are determined. Undefeated DeWyan's number 2, 254. Digger Phelps, 2-1, 252.89, so barely below him. But he's obviously lost to someone up here. Show me them TDs. Granny's Baloney Curtains isn't even ranked, but he's 3rd in the conference. And then Brady's backup falls down here with 181.64, but is lucky enough to be 2-1. That's why this league's unique. You can have a shit week, play someone with an even shittier week, and still win the game. Rod Kimball Conference, we have 2 undefeated teams, Bleeding Blue Bombers and Sag Nasty's notch above top notches. Ryan Frazier's squad in 3rd place there, 2-1 with 196, although Nasty Nutria, 256, has more points than anyone else in this conference, so she can jump up real quick. Mama G out of retirement, I believe, got her first win this week. 195.82. And then finally, the Napoleon Dynamite Conference, Vincent Vallada's 240 on and being 3-0, good for number 5. And only 2 ranked teams in this conference, And number 5 and number 24 with 222.79 points. Don Knapp is up there. Junior Chiefs, 210 points, but 1-2. What's worse than that? Steel City Sackers, 0-3, but put up 220. That's some bad luck, friend. Dustin Hanson, I feel you'll get the ship right, and you will come back with a vengeance. So don't be worried. A lot of 0-3 teams here are really good. Giggle Giggles, 0-3. Who else we got? Jeff Arbogast, 0-3. Paul Smith, 0-3. Don Mulkey, Don Mulkey got randomized, so I'm not standing up for him this time. Sorry. Joe Buck yourself is Jordan Craig. I'm sorry.
Wow,
Jo-
messed up.
I'm all messed up. Well, there's too many damn names that are similar, Cassandra. Joe Buck yourself and the baby of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. That's Tom Farmer. Joe Buck yourself is Jordan Craig. My apologies to Tom Farmer for thinking you were in the bottom. Joe Buck yourself, I'm sorry.
Whoever beat Tom Farmer this week.
Robert Ames, another awesome owner who's 0-3. Hockenstein, Josh Endicott 0-3, and Dustin Hanson. I mean, these are good owners, folks. They're going to come back. They're going to win. This is a long season. We are, however, oh no, I think I'm hitting puberty. We are, however, a quarter of the way through the season already, which is crazy. So we look at the matchups for week 4. See what's to watch for here in week 4. We're at 21 minutes. We're doing great, folks. We're doing great. Week 4, we got number 1, Post-Wag. Bonnie Monahan taking on number 23, Steve Garrity. That's the game of the week so far, I guess. It's right off the gate. Oh, God. I play Cloacal Kiss. That's not good. And we got another top 25 matchup as You Thiel and Lucky Punk. Brian David taking on Kyle Stoker at 25 versus 8. Password is Taco taking on Squadrels. That's a big game. Square Deal needs to win. He was just in the top 25. Now he's out. Chark Attack hopefully puts in a lineup this week, going up against number 19 Tallywhackers. New Orleans Rock Chucks, number 20, taking on Young Bubba's Players, 1-2. And then, this is another great, we've got a lot of top 25 games, tons of them. Mullen Incorporated, Paul Ward taking on Chop It Off, folks, it'll make you whatever. Pat Provost, who's technically a favorite in that game, even though he's not because of the based on the rankings. I don't know how he's figured a favorite, but nobody cares. Nobody cares about these numbers on the side. You can't even see them anyway because it's cut off. Then we have That's a Chunky taking on Vic in a Box. Even though Vic in a Box is not ranked, that is Josh Griner Squad taking on Louis Diana. That is a must-win game for both players, teams, whatever. Here, oh my God, this is a great week, folks. True Blue Wrecking Crew, fresh off their 1-point victory thanks to that defensive scoring adjustment. Roger Brewer trying to take on the former number 1 team, the Apache Chiefs, as number 9 takes on number 15. And what so far is the game of the week, I would say. They're all good games, though, folks. They're all good games. Going down here, we got Tenacious D, number 12, taking on Patriots, number 14. That is a critical game for control of that conference because if the Patriots win, they'll be 3-1. Tenacious D will also be 3-1, but Patriots would have the tiebreaker early. Number 3, Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle of my eyes, taking on 99% luck, 1% heart. That is Rocky Keeling, who is 2-1, off to a good start, yet not ranked. And Chad Lees taking on Chris Malclory. At 17, takes on Hanging with Mr. Hernandez. Digger Phelps taking on BVC. BVC's 1-2. Tire Up and Lock It Down. Tyler Sauceda taking on Low Hanging Fruit, which is Eric Hester. Ben Hester's his son, I believe. And then the aforementioned Tom Farmer, who nobody remembers what team he is because he always changes his damn team name, taking on Brady's backup, which is Young Cromwell, Jordan Cromwell. Number 2, DeWyans taking on I'll Take Your Money, who was made fun of left and right. Kevin Wilson would only take it so long before he started winning some games. He won this week. Congratulations to you. Bleeding Blue Bombers taking on Mama G out of retirement. She fresh on a win, so Pat Provost Sr. better watch out. Melissa Garrity's up for some revenge. Oh, man. I'll tell you, man, this whatever conference this is, we told you at the beginning of the year it was going to be crazy. And sure enough, it is. Now, we have the undefeated Sag Nasty's Notch Buff Top Notches taking on the 2-1 Ryan Frazier's Now You See Me Don't, Now You Don't. Ryan Frazier versus Ben Miller in a must-win game for both teams there because, I mean, these are both powerhouse owners, folks, and that will be a long way towards the end of the year. These tiebreakers are critical. Hockenstein, he's 0-3, taking on Sarah Krasansky's Nasty Nutri at number 13. Scrolling down, and then finally, the Junior Chiefs, who mentioned before, scored a lot of points, but are 1-2, taking on my ball, Zach Ertz. So those are your games. A lot of top 25 versus top 25 teams here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games featuring 2 top 25 teams playing each other. It's going to be the best week yet, folks. Let's hope to God there's not some huge glitch that causes us to have some awkward 10-minute conversation in the next podcast. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Oh, wait, there is one more thing we got to talk about. I almost forgot. Super Squares was not super exciting this week because of the way it went down. The way the schedule was set up, all the teams that were really had a chance of doing anything were playing in the 1 o'clock games, in my opinion. Believe it or not, the Buffalo Bills and the New Orleans Saints, the Saints, to quote Chris Berman, the way he says that dumb shit, so the Bills with Josh Allen, 382 yards passing, the Saints behind Jameis Winston, who was playing with a broken back and threw a bunch of picks. Nevertheless, the Saints represent the NFC. I mean, the Bills, sure, you can see that coming. Bills are one of these perennial, they're going to be in a lot of these high-scoring, high-yardage squares. But the Saints, I personally would think they'd be in the low-scoring, low-yardage squares. But nevertheless, Justin Redding wins for the second time in 3 weeks with different squares, folks. Let's not forget that week 1 he won with Kansas City, Philadelphia. This week he wins with Buffalo and New Orleans, which is a weird square in my opinion because that's a good team and a bad team. So Justin Redding has already more than doubled up his money, tripled up his money in 2 weeks in. So congratulations to him. Next week we got fewest passing yards. Now if it had happened this week, I believe it was going to be the Bears and, well, I'm just going to look real quick. Let's see who it was. It's the quickest way of doing this because it actually keeps track of things here. Passing offense, passing yards per game. I just hit last one. Sort the other way. The Bears and the Broncos would have been, because the Panthers and Redskins are obviously in the NFC. The Broncos and the Bears. Broncos. Of course, the Bears are scroll over. Kyle Mark Stoker. If this week's category would have been lowest passing yards or fewest passing yards, you would have won. But unfortunately, it's not. So here we are at 27 minutes. This is much more reasonable for a podcast. We'll talk to you next week, folks. Have a good one. I'm out.